So in this short video, I just like to take a quick minute to explain how Trigenics works. Any type of joint has muscles that basically cross that joint that create movement. So I'm just going to use the example of my biceps and my triceps. Whenever a muscle contracts, that's called the agonist muscle, the agonist. And the opposite muscle, the muscle that creates the opposite movement, so in the case of the biceps it creates flexion, and in the case of the triceps it creates extension, is called the antagonist. So if I'm flexing the biceps muscle, the antagonist would be the triceps, and it would not be contracted, it would be reciprocally inhibited. What that means, it would be turned off, because it would be silly for me to turn on the triceps muscle as I'm trying to flex my arm. They would be counterproductive, they'd work against each other. Sometimes when the body feels like it's been offended, when something has happened to create an injury or what the body considers an injury or an insult to the body, then certain muscles become activated. They become hypertonic or contractile. When that muscle becomes tight, the opposite muscle becomes weak. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but over time it creates changes, subtle changes in joint movement, and can also affect and limit our ability to basically do certain activities. And then that perpetuates pain and accelerated degenerative changes over that joint. So it's never a good thing. So what do? In the case of the biceps, if we see a massage therapist, which I'm a big fan of, they're going to massage that biceps. They're going to try to get it to basically become more relaxed. And temporarily it might help. But the brain is what's controlling that mechanism. If the brain says, biceps, I need you to stay contracted because of a previous injury or offense, then regardless of how much massage we get done, that muscle's never going to stay off. And it's not, the massage would do nothing to activate the triceps. So we might see a physical therapist, and the physical therapist says, no problem, we're going to stretch that biceps muscle, and we're going to do some exercises to strengthen the triceps. And while that definitely helps, for sure, to some degree, it doesn't neurologically reboot the system at the brain level. It's working very specifically with regards to the muscles, and that has some limitations, because if the brain still says, hey, I need you to override that stretch and that strengthening activity and stay contractile, then that's exactly what the body's going to do. So we can go see a chiropractor, and the chiropractor may manipulate that shoulder joint or the elbow joint, and certainly that can help. But over time, that still doesn't create a neurological change at the brain level. Or we can go see an acupuncturist who puts in, acupuncture needles, and that might help for a time, bring the body back into a more relaxed state. But it's still not going to reprogram things at the brain level. So for us, what I found in my 28 years of experience is that Trigenics is the best tool that I've ever utilized in reprogramming muscle strength and length. So in the case of Trigenics, through a very simple procedure that sometimes in 1 or 2 visits can create miraculous changes, we can reboot that system at the brain level. We can do it very simply and without pain and injury to the client. We can basically manipulate the muscle very gently. That doesn't mean we're doing a fast manipulation. It's just we push on the muscle in a specific direction, depending on what we're trying to do, whether we're getting the muscle to relax or the muscle to turn on. We can utilize certain levers and ranges of movement while people go through a breathing technique. So there's 3 things that are involved with Trigenics. There's resisted exercise, biofeedback breathing, and muscle manipulation. And when we do those in combination with each other with the understanding of neurology and anatomy, then we can create some very, very dynamic changes very quickly. So I had the good fortune of studying functional neurology for about 8 years, and as I've applied Trigenics to our practice, it's allowed me to help people that otherwise I could never have helped before in ways that are very dynamic and very quick. So if you find yourself or a family member struggling with any type of pain or limitation, the number of areas that this can help within the body is pretty broad. So you're welcome to visit the website. It has a list of all the conditions. So if you have a family member or loved one or yourself that might benefit from these types of services, we'd like to extend that invitation to you to come on in and get a Trigenics assessment and learn how we can help you. In the meantime, we wish you every blessing for health and happiness.